people, oh yeah, you don't need so much strength, and you can spend too much time on it. Well, that wasn't the question. The question is, can you ever be too strong?
Right. Big
the answer
difference.
to that question, yes. The question is, no, you can never be too strong. The answer is yes, you can work on strength too much.
Right. Great point.
Right. So, and I think the only time that, when you get to the muscularity that bodybuilders have, like, that's just not, well, for them, it works out perfectly. But if you're trying to tumble or jump up for a pass or dunk a ball or, run the 5-10 to the 5-10 5 drill, that's going to be tough for you, So, but I think if it cuts off your range of motion and it takes away from your hypertrophy level, has now taken away from your ability to perform sport specific skills, then yes, that is a detriment.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's the big debate. I think people like to hear the question differently so they can make their point. Yeah, you can spend too much time. There's something else you can get so strong, and you only need to be so strong to be so fast and all that. Like, well, that's not the question. The question is strength ever a problem? The answer is no. A lack of it, yes. But I'd say no.
I just quickly, I love that answer because, and I think JC meant this too. Like his point was, if you're training to the point, right, where your volumes, your intensity is so high and your loads are so high that skill acquisition or even skill maintenance is being negatively impacted, then you're doing too much. But if you can do it in 1 or 2 sets, obviously you can't. But if hypothetically you could, and you can continue to make maximum strength gains, then it would not be detrimental. I agree with you, and I think distinguishing between those two is a really important point. Yeah.
And get back to the intent, right? If your intent is to be more powerful, at some point you got to realize the equation has time involved with it. So if you're trying to, squeeze water out of a rock by trying to get your squat to go from 500 to 600, and that's going to make you more powerful, the likelihood that you be better off increasing speed by point something seconds is probably your better bet to get a better power output.
Right.
So that's the only thing I can ever think of. If you're thinking we're just going to continually get stronger to get faster, you can monitor that. We know that. We've always done that. Now we just have a better account of what that is. But and that's the idea that you handle strength too much. But here's what I see, and I answered this question the other day. Like, strength coaches, they still spend too much time in strength, and I say, I don't think so as much anymore. I think we got velocity-based training, we got all kind of timing mechanisms and tracking. I don't think they do. In fact, I think it's gone the other way. I think they're doing too much work with lighter weights too fast, trying to get powerful. And in the end, we know this too, that they spend so much time doing lightweight so fast that they get the opposite effect. Their power starts to decrease because they're not feeding the other side of the equation.
Wow,
so anyway,
that makes sense.
Right?
Let me ask you this: have you worked with tennis players before? You have, haven't? Yeah. So you have a tennis player, great baseline game, but the serve is average, right? They're not going to beat you with a serve. So say, coach, hey, I need more velocity in that ball on that first serve. Obviously, there's skill involved. Obviously, that's a high skill movement. But there's also, you got to generate power. So if you are the skill coach as working with the strength and conditioning coach, there's only so much time of the day where he or she still has to practice tennis. I mean, that is the main thing. How do you divvy up that time between, okay, we're going to do some weight work, but we also need to do skill work? Or there's not a clear-cut answer because obviously each individual, athlete, will respond differently. So thoughts?
You just outlined the discussion just right there. You said it all. We only have so much time. What's your intent? What's the value? What are we getting out of that? And then you just come to a decision. And sometimes, Joey, those decisions are, it's probably not in our best interest to do it then, because she's got a great baseline game. She's playing, she's healthy. Let's leave it alone. Or if he says, I think we can score more points that way. Okay, well, here's what it's going to take. I've had this conversation in baseball before, where we had a player that was, probably not well, probably was average speed, and but they were gonna end up hitting about 40 homers, and they eventually did, and get about 120, 130 RBIs, right? So the idea is that the guys behind him, we call it what's it called, like jamming up the bases. Like we can't, we can hit the ball somewhere, but we can't run faster than he is in front of us, is basically what the adage is. And they said, we need to make him faster. Well, this was during the season. So I said, okay, well, what are you trying? Well, we need to get him to, score from second on a base hit and all this other stuff. And I said, well, okay, well, I can do that, but that kind of training is not easy. I can do it, and it's going to take a while. But if we do that type of training to make him faster, all that work, that means he's going to not give me 40 and 120. It means it's going to be like a 25 and an 80. Oh, well, we can't have that. I said, well, you can't have both. I mean, that player is a Willie Mays. You know what I mean? Like you can't produce those guys. He's some of these guys you see today, like that's not what we're doing, and so well, we can't have that. And I said, well, I mean, that's what's going to happen. So was it worth it? Then it's not. Like, hey, you got to settle with that then, right? Same kind of thing. In those discussions now, the performance unit has to include the coach for the very reason you just talked about. There's only so much time to practice baseball, tennis, golf, badminton, wrestling, gymnastics. What else can you put into that that's not going to jeopardize or compromise their commitment? I had the same thing with the tracking. We had the GPS and all that, and I was mapping out what I wanted to do in soccer for that practice. And I said, you just, basically what I do is you give me the drills. I'll tell you what the cost of those drills are, and we can tell you how long you're going to do it. So I had this drill, and he said, that's just not enough time for that drill. And I said, well, you're going to have to take that time out of somewhere else or add it somewhere else. But why are you saying that? In the simplest, greatest answer I'd ever heard, because that's not enough soccer. Good point. Mm-hmm. Then I say, well, we can't do that. Leave that alone then.